Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's breathing meditation. This week's theme is humanity, and our topic focusing on breaking through loneliness. So we will get into some breathing practices and some yoga and mindful movement in just a moment. But just to kind of set the tone for where we're coming into this week and to this topic with, I want to just start by sharing something that we all may be familiar with, and that's that we need connection. That's something that's undeniable. That's something that we all have felt and we all feel and experience, and just want to lift up as caregivers. We sometimes find ourselves either feeling isolated emotionally or physically or both. Um, and that's sometimes difficult to navigate. So today with our practice, really wanting to take a moment to lift up that need for connection is very human and something that we all do need, but also provide some tangible supports and tools for ways in which that we can show up for ourselves, um, and just being mindful of that and being intentional in our practices, holding time for ourselves, holding space for ourselves, just as much as we seek and are fulfilled by those social connections as well. So I also lift up here when on that journey to break through loneliness, some things that can be considered as how mindfulness and how breath work can help. It helps us quiet our minds, and in turn can can pro- can prove to be a great support to recognizing any of those feelings that are coming up for us, those feelings of isolation, those feelings of loneliness, and hopefully being equipped with tools to navigate when that happens for us. So, with that being said, I won't talk too much at you all, but would love to really get us in the space of breathing and moving with our time here together. Know that everything I offer is just that, an offer. So please take this practice and make it your own. If it's something that you want to take and put in your tool belt for later, that is perfectly fine. And just being here and watching and observing is just as powerful. Or if something doesn't serve you, know that that's okay too. With that being said, we'll start with a couple breathing practices, and would love to just get us set up by that by grounding ourselves in the space. So wherever you found yourself, say if you're in a seated position, it may be nice to connect with something that's beneath you. So if your feet are dangling off of a seat, perhaps you make sure that the bottoms of your feet are connected to the ground. If you're sitting on the ground and your bottom and legs are connected there, really rooting yourself down there. And if you're in any other way, laying down, sitting on a couch, chair, bed, wherever you are, really feeling beneath you, um, and connecting in that way, grounding yourself as we get ready for this practice and beginning to notice your breath. We're not necessarily changing anything here, but just noticing the breath as it goes in and out of the body. It may feel good to close your eyes, or perhaps you just find somewhere to soften your gaze. But right now, we're simply bringing our awareness to our breath. Breath is one of those beautiful things that we do just to exist, but can be such a powerful tool when we just shift the way we think about it or become more mindful of the way we experience it is a better way to say that. Continuing to breathe in, continuing to breathe out, coming into this space together. I'm going to get us set up for one of two breaths that we're going to intentionally practice today. The first breath being bellows breath. So wherever you are, continuing with that natural rhythm of breath, but becoming really tall. So if you're seated here, you're sitting up tall. If you are in any other position, just finding that length throughout your body. This can still be done from that place of comfort that you found yourself. Taking a moment here to relax your shoulders, And then taking a few deep breaths in and out. We'll start to centralize these breaths going in and out of the body to the nose. So sometimes we breathe in our nose, out our mouth, or any which other way, but intentionally breathing in through our nose, out of our nose. This breath is often experienced a little bit differently. Usually, as we open and release our mouth and release our breath, it's a little more cooling, whereas that breath in and out of the nose really builds that heat and intensity within the body. Continuing to breathe in and out with each inhale, expand your belly fully as you breathe. And what we'll do here is begin our bellows breathing by exhaling forcefully through your nose. So this intentional shift, following inhaling in a forceful manner and exhaling forcefully through your nose. We'll start to speed this up a little bit, keeping with this breath and going through cycles. So we'll go through a few cycles of this breath, but making sure your breath is coming from your diaphragm, keeping your head, neck, shoulders, and chest still while your belly moves in and out, breathing in forcefully through your nose, out forcefully through your nose. Going through 10 rounds of this breath at your own pace, and then we'll take a break and return to that natural breath. You get to that last round of breath, taking a break and begin to breathe naturally, return into that natural rhythm we started. Observing any sensations that are in your mind and body after that experience. Stand here, stand aware. And then we'll go to our second cycle here, so to speak. Return into that bellows breath, that forceful inhale, that forceful exhale, this time for 20 breaths. So this may feel and be experienced a little bit differently than that first round, and knowing that that's okay. We're just in a space of exploration, doing this at your own pace. And just like before, once you make it through those 20 rounds of breath, we'll find our way back to that natural rhythm of breathing. Taking your time, owning your experience, continuing to breathe in, continuing to breathe out. And once you make it through that last breath, reconnecting with that natural rhythm of that inhale into the body, of that exhale out of the body. Observing any sensations in your mind and your body. We'll go to our last round here, sticking with the same thing. At this point, we're building a habit, a routine, right, with this breath. But this time, instead of 20 breaths, we're going to explore this fellow's breath for 30 breaths. So 30 intense inhales, 30 intense exhales. Taking your time, owning your space, begin to shift from that natural rhythm of breathing to 30 bellows breaths. Noticing how this breath is showing up in your body, making sure that you're listening to your body, listening to your mind as we flow through this practice. if you feel lightheaded, especially as we increase the amount of breaths here, make sure you take a moment to pause, being self-aware of how that may be an experience for you, and knowing that your natural breath is always there to return to. There's also always the opportunity to move a little slower and with a little less intensity, but still practice the same breath in and out of your nose. And once you make it through those 30 rounds of breath, return into that natural rhythm, breathing in, breathing out. This breath in particular is a tool that has its benefits for first thing in the morning to support energizing, um, midday slump if you need a little bit of energy, perhaps even gearing you up for a workout or some yoga and mindful movement. So, knowing that this is a practice that is intentionally meant to be snackable to bring into our day, sometimes when it feels like the time just isn't there. With that being said, it's a perfect segue into our next breathing practice that we will intentionally highlight for today and for this month in general. Many of you may already be familiar with Breath with the Clock. Kathy has shared this with you all, and it's breath of the month. So wanting to hold some space and bring that breath into play here as well. So we're keeping with that natural breath right now, but what we will do here is shift our breath to cycles of breathing in for 6 and breathing out for 6. So gearing yourself up to make that transition as that breath goes in, as that breath goes out. If you have a clock or a watch handy, um, option to practice it in that way. But if not, I can sort of time keep here, or we can also go through a certain amount of rounds that we know will get us to a couple of minutes. So shifting that breath to 6 inhales, breathing in through the nose, and 6 seconds of exhaling, breathing out of your nose. Continuing to breathe in through your nose. Continuing to breathe out of your nose. The beauty of this breath is also when we're up against time, knowing that you can continue to stick with this as I ramble on here, but when we're up against time, it's something that we can tangibly see ourselves working through with every round of inhale and every round of exhale, knowing that we can fit it into a minute, fit it into the 2 minutes in our day. Continuing to breathe in, continuing to breathe out. In, out. With 30 more seconds on our clocks. Continuing with your breath, continuing with the rhythm, continuing to welcome breath in, continuing to send your breath out. Then allowing and creating the space for that breath to reconnect with its natural rhythm. Breathing in, breathing out. beginning to wake up the body. We went from a energizing breath to one that slows us down a little bit, but perhaps we inhale, roll the shoulders up, and exhale, roll them down and back. Let's do that again. Inhale, roll your shoulders up. Exhale, roll them down and back. Using our breath to flow around, dropping your right ear to right shoulder. Then allow the head to fall back. Left ear to left shoulder. Then allow the chin to connect with the chest. Going around one more round here to the right ear to shoulder. Head falls back. Left ear, left shoulder. Chin the chest. Taking it the other direction for the sake of balance. Left ear, left shoulder. Head falls back. Right ear, right shoulder. Chin the chest. One more time. Ear to shoulder. Head falls back. Ear to shoulder. Chin the chest. Rolling the head back up, sitting nice and tall, becoming nice and tall in your space. We're going to begin our movement and our mindful practice today with just a little bit of self massage. So, starting up at the top of the head, starting at the scalp, really finding what feels good for you, what feels right for you. We're continuing to breathe as we move through this, but we're welcoming some self love, some self massage in here. And I also want to offer out to you all some affirmations or intentions to bring along with us through this practice. Knowing that you can create and own your own if you have something that's speaking to you and that really resonates with you today. But as an offer, being alone doesn't mean I have to be lonely. I love and cherish myself exactly as I am at this moment. I'm never truly alone. I'm connected to the universe and all who inhabit it, moving from the scalp to the ears, shifting where we're self massaging, where we're sharing the love in our body, taking in and owning our affirmation, our intention for the practice, for our time here today, for the rest of the week, the rest of your day, knowing that these aren't things that we can own in only a moment, but that we can take with us and guide us through. Finding what feels good for you, what feels right for you, and leaning into it. Moving down to the jawline, beginning to provide some release there. As humans, we have the tendency to hold tension in so many parts of our bodies that we use and connect with each day, and just providing a little bit of love, a little bit of self release, and holding space in moments like this. Allow for even just a moment things to become lighter, to release, to melt into that love and nourishment that we're providing ourselves. Moving on to the neck here. Noticing maybe as we move and engage with different parts of the body, we feel and recognize different tensions. Recognizing that's the most human and a natural part of our lived experience. And although it happens, it doesn't mean that we can't use our tools and resources to support us through. And then yogi's choice here, taking your massage, taking your next moments to go where you need to go. Perhaps it's your shoulders, your sinuses, your temples. Sometimes we know what we need, and that's not something I can cue us through. So, taking these next moments, taking your breath, taking your massage where your body's calling for, knowing that the self massage will come to an end in this space together in just a moment. But you may identify some areas that are worthwhile returning to. We'll stay here for, let's say, 20 more rounds of breath to really enjoy this, own this moment, breathe and live into it. Taking those last rounds of breath, taking one more moment to reconnect with your affirmation, reconnect with your intention, and then slowly just when our limbs go a little bit limp, taking a deep breath in through the nose, open the mouth, let it go. A community breath to come back in this space together to get into a little bit more movement before we bring it back down, knowing that we can come back to that massage as we come back down. Um, but first here, wanting to offer out a butterfly hug. And for those of you who may not be familiar with it, this is a grounding exercise that we can do in a number of ways. So one, we can kind of make our butterfly wings here, connecting those two thumbs, and then connecting those to that collarbone area here. And um, so simply from here, we just begin to tap with each hand. So you tap with your right, I think that's my left hand. You tap with your left hand, and then you tap with your right hand. And that is where we can take it. It's tapping, and then you're breathing in through your nose, and you're exhaling through your nose. Another option here is to kind of just give yourself a hug. Same concept, but you tap and you tap, and your hands aren't connected in that way at the center. And these can sometimes be an intense experience, and knowing that we'll all feel this a little bit differently. So there's always that option to allow the hands to rest and become grounded on your thighs, your legs here, and that same tap in motion. Wherever we find ourselves, the idea here is to ground and connect with the body, with the breath, breathing in through your nose, exhaling through your nose, and feeling that tap in motion either on your chest or perhaps your legs, perhaps your arms or somewhere else on the body that you've connected with that resonates with you. But we're going to stay here for 10 more rounds of breath. That's essentially 5 taps on each side, allowing ourselves to be grounded in this moment, to be connected with our breath, to be connected with self. And coming out of this moment, as you're ready, bringing the arms, wrapping them around yourself, and just giving yourself a big hug. Coming into that community breath here, breathing in through the nose, out of the mouth. We'll slowly begin to shift into more active movement here, but knowing that we stick with our breath, allow the arms to release, fall low. And then on an inhale, bringing the arms up to center. Exhale, float them right back down. Inhale your arms up to center. This time on an exhale, cactus your arms out, open your heart. Looking up a little bit here, we're doing a little baby back bend. Inhale your arms back to center. Exhale, plant your right hand down beside you. Perhaps if you're on a chair up high, and your chair has a armrest or something there, use that for grounding. But we're just going to lift that left arm up and over for a little side body stretch here. Stand for a breath in, find and length. Going a little bit deeper for a breath out. Inhale all the way back to center. Exhale, plant your left hand, find that grounding, and then lean over to your left side. We inhale, stay, find that length, find that space. Exhale, go a little bit deeper into it. Inhale your arms back to center. Exhale, cactus the arms out, little baby back bend, really opening our heart up here, focusing on some heart openers today. Inhale your hands back to center. Exhale, allow your hands to fall back to the thighs or armrests, wherever they are. And on your next inhale, open the heart, look up toward the sky. Exhale, round your back, look down toward your belly. Inhale, we open your heart, look up toward the sky. Exhale, round the back, look down toward your belly. Moving into that cat-cow motion, if you're familiar with it, we're doing it in a seated variation, but knowing that you can take this experience to your hands and knees in that tabletop position and go through these rounds of cat-cow. I'll turn it over to you all to enjoy this movement with your breath. For 5 rounds of breath, we continue to breathe in. We continue to breathe out. I encourage you all to explore, perhaps there's some organic movements that regardless of if you're seated or in that tabletop position, you may want to walk them in. That may be taking it around, that may be moving back and forth, whatever makes sense for you, but really beginning to open up through that back body, but also open up through the heart as we shine our light. 2 more rounds of breath here, breathing in. Breathing out. Continuing to breathe in. Continuing to breathe out. Then coming back to that neutral spine. Taking a moment here, perhaps it feels good to wiggle it out. We're working different parts of the body here in a nice gentle way. But for some of us, this may be some intense movement for the day. So know when to listen to your body and add what enhances your experience. In this neutral spine here, taking the arms out wide and then taking your right arm across, hugging it in with your left arm. We're just going to connect in this way, still using our breath here. So this is an intense stretch in the shoulder, but with every inhale, it allows us to find space through our spine, through that arm, through that shoulder. And every exhale allows us to take it a little bit deeper in whatever way that means for us. That may be intensifying the stretch a little bit in the shoulder, or that may mean something else for you. We'll stay here for another round of breath in, another round of breath out. Then release your arm, shake it out, and switch it out. Taking that left arm across the body. Inhaling and exhaling. Taking that experience to wherever makes sense for you. Finding your space and finding your depth with every inhale and with every exhale. Stand here for one more breath. And then shaking it out. Inhaling your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, fold over your legs. This could be done in a seated position, or if you'd like to bring this to a stand-in experience, knowing that you can take it. But just taking a moment and hanging out in this forward fold, letting the blood reset, flow down, letting the top body get nice and heavy wherever you are. And then on an inhale, rising all the way up to the top. Exhale, our arms come down by our side. We're coming to our mountain pose, taking a moment here to ground here. Before we welcome in some standing poses that can also be done seated, choose your experience here. But from this mountain pose, opening out by stepping our left leg forward, keeping that back leg back and grounded, coming into a warrior one position. So though it may be nice to use the hands to guide the hips forward. And when you're ready and feel grounded and stable, your arms come up nice and tall. You may be wondering, how does one do this seated? I don't have the best chair to show that, but it's the same concept. You use your chair as a support beneath you, where you basically almost in a way straddle it and feel that warrior one on it, and that chair's there as a guide. Or if you don't want to be as complicated as I'm making it, you can just use that chair as a support to hang on together. But coming into this warrior one, finding and connecting with your strength and stability here. We'll stay for a breath in. We'll stay for a breath out. Inhale, becoming nice and tall. And on our exhale, opening up out to the side, coming into warrior two. So that back leg, that back foot turns to a 90-degree angle. Those arms tee out nice and strong here. On an inhale, raising the shoulders up toward the ears, and on an exhale, sending them right back down, often a place we hold tension. Finding a bend in that front knee. We stay for a breath in. We stay for a breath out. Inhale, coming back to that warrior one. So shifting that focus, shifting that back foot back forward a little bit, and those arms and hips toward the front. We stay for an inhale, stay for an exhale. And then on our next breath in, lifting off your back leg, taking flight in a sense, coming into warrior three. So arms can stay out in front of you or come to your heart. They can even be supported at the hips, so you can take them back into a little airplane action. We're just going to test our balance here for a breath in, test it for a breath out. One more deep breath in, get it nice and long. And then on the exhale, allow everything to fall back to the ground, folding over your legs, coming back to that forward fold that we just experienced before. Inhaling, lifting up just halfway. Then exhale, fold right over your legs. Inhaling your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, allow the hands to float down by your side, coming back into that mountain pose. Getting ready to set up for our tree pose. We're putting our weight into our right leg. And then as you grow your tree, that bottom of your left foot may come to your ankle with those toes, kind of kickstand on the ground for a little bit more support. Or perhaps you move it to your calf, or skipping the knee for safety, all the way up to your thigh. Finding what works and makes sense for you. And once you feel stable in the bottom half of our tree here, growing your branches, so perhaps they stay right here supporting you on your hips, or you bring them to your heart center, or you take them and branch them out. Often with balancing poses, it helps to find something in front of you that isn't moving. So if you're looking at me on the screen, that might not be helpful. But when challenging our balance, finding something that isn't moving, connecting with our breath, using our breath as a tool and as a guide as we go through here. And knowing that even trees experience a little wind. So if we fall down, we can get right back up. So taking a couple more rounds of breath here, exploring your tree, exploring your balance. Deep breath in. On the next breath out, let it all go. Shake it out. Return back to that mountain pose. And we'll do the same thing we just did on the other side body. This time, stepping your right leg forward, coming into that warrior two, finding your strength and stability. Hips smooth, shift forward. Arms may raise up toward the sky. Checking in on how you've landed here. Checking that bend in that front knee where your shoulders are. Are you hugging them up toward your ears? We stay for a breath in. We stay for a breath out. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, lengthen through your body. Exhale, open up to the side, warrior two. Teeing your arms out, back foot turns to a 90-degree. We're checking in how we've landed, finding our strength and stability here, owning our warrior two. We stay for a breath in.
Sure.
We stay for a breath out.
Are those eggs I was just making for
Deep breath in, find length.
lunch or breakfast?
And then on our next exhale, we're gonna open back up to that warrior one, just as we did before. So y'all know where we're going. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. And on the exhale, we take flight. So you're growing into your warrior three. Or perhaps you're airplaning your arms back into that airplane, but testing our balance here for a breath, knowing that we may feel a little bit more wiggly on this side, and that's super natural, but we're exploring and we're having fun with it. Stand for a breath in, stand for a breath out. One more big inhale, get nice and long. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale and lift up halfway. Exhale, fold over your legs again. On your next inhale, arms reach up nice and tall. Exhale, they float down by your side. Shifting our weight into the left side body and growing your tree wherever makes sense for you. Perhaps that foot remains connected to the ground for a little bit more support. Or for more of a challenge, it begins to make its way up your leg. Taking your tree, owning your growth, and we'll stay for 2 rounds of breath, exploring our balance. Wherever you've grown to, bringing and connecting all your limbs back to the ground, shaking it out. And I encourage you to take any last movements you may be craving before we start to bring it back down. So yogi's choice here. If there's anything standing and you found yourself standing up that you'd like to do, take the time and do that. And as you're ready, we'll start to make our way to a comfortable way to be. So this may be a comfortable seat. You may even want to lay down somewhere. Beginning to take those moments to get where you need and where you want and becoming comfortable. Reconnecting with that natural rhythm of breath. The breath going into the body, the breath going out of the body. If there's anything you like to bring along for the experience to enhance our final moments of breathing meditation where we embrace relaxation, please get that now. Wherever you are, however you've reconnected with that natural rhythm of breath, beginning to bring the awareness to any tension you may be holding in the body. So starting at the feet and moving up to your calves and your thighs, pausing and especially noticing anything that may be in the hip or pelvic area. Often the space we hold a lot of tension, in particular emotional tension, and recognizing there as we move up to the belly. Perhaps there's some butterflies, the chest, the heart, the shoulders, the arms, the face, the crown of the head. Noticing where there may be any tension left in the body. And then welcome in a deep breath in all the way up from your feet to the crown of the head. And then as we release and send that breath out, start at the crown of the head and send that breath down through the face, the heart, the chest, the arms, the shoulders, the belly, the hips, the pelvic area, the thighs, the calves, the feet, all those places we just gave attention to and notice what's happening there. We can take our breath and send our breath back as a tool, even just for a moment, to provide some relaxation, provide some release. Taking one more deep breath in through the nose, big breath out of the mouth, and then on in these next couple moments for you in our final rest pose, Savasana. Slowly beginning to wake the body up, coming back into the space with one another. Taking your thumb and rubbing it across your fingertips. Perhaps you point and flex your toes. If it's accessible to where you found yourself, you may reach your arms far overhead and allow your legs to reach far down, taking a full body stretch. Wherever you found yourself, taking a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth and let it go. Let's do that again. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale out of your mouth. Allowing this to be your deepest breath yet. Welcome the breath in. Send the breath and anything else not serving you out. If you'd like, perhaps you roll over to one side of the body. Right, usually releasing stress from your heart. Left, welcoming coolness into the body. And then we'll all meet in a seated position. Back up. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale and connect them down through chest center. We'll end our practice with a community breath. We're taking a deep breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and let it go. The goodness in me sees and appreciates the goodness in each and every one of you. And I thank you all for being here and for showing up for you today. That brings us to the end of our practice. Remember, when breaking through loneliness, mindfulness and breath work can help us quiet our minds and help be a tool in that experience. So I hope you all come back to these breathing practices, the movement, or maybe even take some of the affirmations or intentions into your day, week, lives, if it makes sense for you or anything resonated with you. So thank you, everyone. Stop recording now.
Thank you, Ariel.